history, so welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be doing an like official, long, more in-depth review of Artemis by Weir. I've already briefly talked about this book in my October wrap-up, which I will link in the cards if you still haven't seen it yet. But because this is a new release coming out very soon and I have some strong feelings about it, I wanted to do like a separate video just talking about Artemis. So Artemis is a sci-fi novel set in space on the moon in a town called Artemis that consists of several bubbles that are like interconnected, and we follow Jazz Bashara, the main character, who is I think in her early 20s, and she's always kind of just scraping by in terms of money, and she is smuggling basically goods into Artemis from Earth. That's kind of like how she makes a living. One day she then is presented with the opportunity to sabotage the aluminum production company on the moon that is also in charge of creating oxygen to keep the entire city alive. So obviously problems happen, issues ensue, and shit goes down. And yeah, it's quite an exciting story from that. Like, it's quite fast-paced. Stuff comes up all the time, like new things, new occurrences. So it definitely didn't get boring in terms of the plot, but I also didn't really think that it was anything special. There wasn't anything where I was like, oh my god, this is genius. It just was okay, I guess. Another part I did like was the science of it. A lot of the things happening on the moon I'm like super ignorant of. Like, I have no idea about any kind of physics, and so it was really interesting to get like detailed descriptions of what was happening when it was happening. At the same time, I did feel like some passages went a little overboard with the detailed explanations and just like went on and on and on, where I was like just at this point basically just like skimming over it, trying to get to the next part. I also did really love the setting of the moon, because obviously that's something else quite out there, literally. I usually get very anxious and or claustrophobic with books that are set, or movies that are set in space, but in this case I didn't mind so much, probably because the moon was involved, which is like a planetary ground that people could like stand on for most of the time. So yeah, it didn't bother me quite as much as, for example, the movie Gravity did, which I literally couldn't finish. Have never finished it to this day. So this book definitely has a few redeeming qualities here or there. I still feel like even for those reasons alone, it's not worth reading, and because of my biggest problem with it, I would recommend not reading it at all, actually. And that problem is the main character, Jazz. I've said this before, it appears that Jazz is basically a caricature of what Weir thinks women are like. And a very bad caricature at that. Her personality is really all over the place, and in general she just like doesn't read like a real person. She has like weird, stereotypically female traits, such as she's really into gossip randomly. She has like this issue with her ex-friend, her ex-best friend who stole her boyfriend. Like, literally that is 14-year-old petty feud crap, but she keeps going on and on and on about it. She also keeps mentioning how gorgeous and beautiful she is, and it's like, oh, I'm not surprised that he's like lost for words when he sees me in just like a t-shirt and stuff like that. Like, I was ready to punch her in the face so many times. None of these things, like loving gossip or like having an issue because someone stole your boyfriend, are like necessarily bad or like make a character unreadable, but for me those were just like such stereotypes, and just like they just didn't make sense within the overall story, especially because Jazz was in so many like difficult situations and like had so much on her mind, and she's supposed to be this like scientific genius, really smart, really good at everything. Like, you would think that she would be above such things. Honestly, it just like didn't make sense, right? Her character did not make sense, did not read like a real person. Another thing that really bothered me was how overly sexual she was. She would constantly make like sexual jokes or innuendos at the most inappropriate times, literally when they were like in the middle of fighting for their lives, and I just don't need that. I like don't need that. It was not funny. It was cringeworthy is what it was. And if you wanna check my Goodreads review, I put like 3 quotes of scenes like that where I was like, oh, shut up, please. Like, it's fine to be a sexual person, it's fine to be comfortable with your sexuality, but you don't need to bring it up literally any chance you get. On the other end of the spectrum, Jazz is also extremely aggressive, especially towards people trying to help her, or like her family members and friends. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, how terrible of a person can you actually be? At the same time, her ex-best friend literally did everything he could to win her friendship back. He kept pestering her to hang out with him, and it just made no sense. Like, if you read the book and you get to know Jazz, like, there's no way in hell anyone would want to be friends with her that badly. I can guarantee it. So overall, this is definitely a case of where a main character ruined an otherwise mediocre book. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I added 1 star because there were some parts that I enjoyed, and I did like the overall story, as I said. I thought the concept was fun, and yeah, I didn't have the worst time reading it, but also I don't recommend you pick it up unless you're a hardcore Andy Weir fan and don't mind all the negatives that I just mentioned. I mean, maybe it's just me, maybe it just bothers me, but I have read a lot of reviews where people have criticized these things, so yeah. I guess you'll have to decide for yourself. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment down below telling me if you've read Artemis or The Martian and what you thought of it. I haven't read The Martian yet, even though I do own it, and I want to read it at some point. I've heard like mixed things, like people telling me, oh, if you didn't like Artemis, still read The Martian, and other people are like, oh, just skip it. It's not that great either, so let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and come back every Tuesday and Friday for another video. In the meantime, go over there and check out some other videos I recently did. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye!